Hi, so today we are here at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. We actually have a great opportunity to go to Halloween Horror Nights, which is located at the Universal side, not the Islands of Adventure side. I love going to Disney. I love going to theme parks and riding rides, and I love, you know, all the magical princesses, princes, fairy tales, stuff like that. But my favorite time of the year is Halloween, and I love being scared. And there is no other place that I'd rather go than to Halloween Horror Nights. This is one of the top destinations for getting scared, you know, going and enjoying haunted houses while you get to ride rides, because some of the rides are still open. And they have a lot of good food and drinks that you can drink while you're here. So we're actually going to go to Tootsome's Chocolate Emporium, and we're gonna eat some food before we head into the park. So if you've never been to Universal Studios, this is City Walk right here. City Walk is pretty much in between, or out front technically, of Universal Studios, which is over here. When you park, you'll park over here in this direction. You'll come in, you know, towards where the camera is. If you come in this direction over here, you'll head to Islands of Adventure. If you take a right, which is our left right now, you'll head over to Universal Studios. And right in the middle of them, you've got the Hard Rock Cafe, and then you've got Toothsome Chocolate Emporium, which is where we're eating tonight. What is your favorite meal that you've gotten here so far?
Meal?
Meal.
Definitely the chicken.
Okay.
And it comes with mashed potatoes and this like red wine demi-glaze. That's my favorite here.
So what's your favorite dessert?
Definitely you want to look at the milkshakes. I know there's a whole slew of desserts from this menu, but I personally like the brownie milkshake because it has like all this chocolate. And then on top of that, they have a brownie. So it's just kind of like it's chocolate heaven.
So you're just in heaven when you're eating that?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay. These are all the milkshakes that you can get, and let's see if we can see the one. I think that one right there, the one in the back, is the brownie one. That one is really good. And then I think this is the one I got right here, which is the key lime pie. That was absolutely, it was so good. They have probably some of the best desserts, I think, in the park, don't you think?
Definitely.
And then you got Voodoo Donuts, which is across the way, which is really good. All right, so for tonight, I ended up getting the crab and artichoke dip. I wasn't really that hungry, so I just got an appetizer. I thought it was really good. It had a lot of food, especially for one person. I'm pretty sure the appetizer is meant for multiple people, but I used it as a meal. With the meal, I'm not very good with spicy things. That was kind of spicy for me. Now, for most average people, you're probably not going to think it's spicy, but for me it was. But the amount of food you got for that appetizer was really good, and I definitely would recommend getting that if you want something to nosh on before you get your meal. So I know you already got the chicken before, but what do you think of it again, you know, this time around?
Hasn't changed. They're still really good.
Yep.
I'm very happy. The chicken is grilled, so if you're worried about, you know, health concerns or staying healthy, grilled chicken you can never go wrong with. And then they got the mashed potatoes, they got the demi-glaze, and then if you like asparagus, you know, it's kind of like best of both worlds.
And you got a dessert?
I definitely did. I got the apple cider cake.
Let's look at it. All right. A moment of truth. Let's see how good it is. She doesn't drop it on the ground first.
It's a little fragile. Smell the cider.
So, the verdict is?
I like liked it so far.
Yeah? So you had, this is just the
cream.
The cream portion?
And then cracked into it.
That is pretty good.
Try the chocolate. That's a good chocolate.
Had a nice crunch to it. So overall, you'd recommend getting this?
Yeah, if you like cider, definitely.
Yeah. All right, you ready to go enjoy some Horror Nights?
Definitely.
All right, let's go. So if you've never been to Universal, they've got these little boats that can take you from your resort all the way to the parks. They're really nice. The last time that we stayed here, way off in the distance, let's see if we can zoom in. There's these buildings right up top there. That is the Hard Rock Resort. That's where we stayed last time we came to Horror Nights, and it was actually really good. It was close enough to where all we had to do is walk, but you can use the boats to come over. But most of the time we took the boats over, so I would definitely recommend that if you stay there. The park opens at 6:30, and today it is going to be closing at 1. So we bought express tickets for tonight. Even if you think it's going to be a slow night, express tickets, especially if you want to hit every single house, is definitely a must, in my opinion, because even if each house is a 30-minute wait, that's like 5-6 hours of waiting, and the park is only open for a limited amount of time. So if you're only here for one night, definitely get express, and then you can have a good time. Let's go! Hey, so I wanted to film some things at home. One, because it's really loud at Horror Nights, so it's kind of hard to talk over everybody screaming and some of the chainsaws and people scaring each other. So I wanted to film some of the things at home so I could, one, tell you my thoughts on the houses and also the scare zones, but also we're gonna do a giveaway and I get to show you some of the things that we're giving away. So let's start with the houses. The houses we weren't able to film in. You have to be media to film in the houses, and you have to come on media night to do that. So unfortunately, we didn't get any footage of inside the houses, but I can give you our thoughts on it and go from there. So I will split them up by two different categories. One of them being IP, which is intellectual property. Those are like houses that were based off of movies or you know, things like that. So, and then you also have the original houses, which are made up stories that were just for Horror Nights. So as of intellectual properties, I'm looking at my list over here just in case you want to know what I'm looking at. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is my favorite intellectual property house. it was the best house I've been in quite a long time. The reason I liked it is I love the movies, and walking into that house, you're transported into the movie, and you go pretty much alongside. It went from shot to shot of how the movies were. The special effects that they had in the house were mind-blowing, and I loved all the actors and actresses that were in the house. They did such a fantastic job. If you go to Horror Nights and you only do one house, I highly recommend Ghostbusters. So on to the next one. I'm going to do them in an order of how I liked them for intellectual property. The second one is House of a Thousand Corpses. So House of a Thousand Corpses, it was the same thing as Ghostbusters. It takes you scene by scene through the movie. Now, that movie is not for everybody. I know it's kind of, you either like it or you don't. But for me, I love the movie. I love seeing the characters and the locations that were in the movie transported into this house, and I was right there alongside them. Again, this is another must go. I loved it. I think it was fantastic. The next intellectual property one is Universal Monsters. This one was like being transported back to some of the books or some of the movies that I loved growing up as a kid. You get to go through all the classic monsters like Dracula, Wolfman, the Mummy. You walk through, and after you go through each set, you're transported to that next movie and or book location, depending on which one you want to reference it off of. But that was definitely number 3 for me. Killer Clowns, this year with intellectual property, it was amazing. Like with Ghostbusters and House of a Thousand Corpses, it takes you scene by scene of the movie, and Killer Clowns was really awesome. I'm not a huge fan of Killer Clowns, so maybe that's why it's kind of lower on my list, and it might be higher on somebody else's list. But to me, it was still an awesome house, you know, whether I like the movie or not. And it's definitely a must go. Now, our last 2 are probably some of the biggest IPs that they have, but unfortunately for me, it wasn't on the top of my list. Ghostbusters, House of a Thousand Corpses, perfect. But here's the next 2. Us, I love the movie. I thought Jordan Peele's Us was fantastic, one of the best movies of the year, but it wasn't that impressive of a house. I mean, it was cool going in and seeing some of the locations that you saw in the movies, but to me, Ghostbusters, House of a Thousand Corpses, Universal Monsters, it was just a lot better, a little bit more scarier in the other houses. Now, not really Ghostbusters, but more House of a Thousand Corpses. But with Us, it was more just an interesting thing to see. You know, it's like you're being transported to the movie, but it's still, you know, some of the lower ones. Now, the last one, as much as I love the TV show, Stranger Things is on the bottom of the list for intellectual property. The only reason I put it at the bottom is because the fact that if you went to last year's Halloween Horror Nights and you did the Stranger Things house, to me, it was kind of like going through the same exact locations. They do reference, and there are a lot of scenes for season 3 of Stranger Things, but it was just, I don't know, I felt like copy paste from the last year. And I mean, the show is, you know, sort of similar. It's the same monster that they're fighting. It's the same kind of idea of what's going on, just with a few more additions. So that is why Stranger Things is definitely on the lower end of the intellectual property houses. So next, we're done with intellectual property. The next one is the original Universal houses. These are a lot better for me for the fact that I don't really know what to expect unless it's been a house that has previously been in one of the previous years of Halloween Horror Nights. But on the top of the list is Yeti. It's Terror of the Yukon. It's about a remote part of Canada. Loggers and trappers seek refuge from the elements. You're in Yeti territory and they'll stop you cold. I'm reading off the description from the Universal Horror Nights website. So with Yeti, one, the special effects, the stages that they used to bring you into this world was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was amazing. You step in and you're transported into a different world. It was all around awesome. The Yeti costumes that they used were terrifying, and whether or not they used stilts or whatnot, some of these Yetis were huge and very terrifying. And I'm usually a big baby when it comes to haunted houses or being scared. I jump all the time. I didn't really jump a lot this year, but Yeti, I jumped one time this year and it was Yeti. I about threw Lauren into the scare actor. That's how scared I got. So it was definitely a fun time, on the top of my list. This year for original houses, there were four original houses. And then there's a lot more intellectual property this year. So number 2 on my original houses list is Nightingales. Nightingales is, you're in the ancient Roman arena. Grisly creatures are drawn to dead and dying gladiators with nothing to protect you, your history. So Nightingales was definitely on the top of my list for original houses. Now, when I say top of the list, there's only 4, but still, this was number 2 for me. I love the ancient Roman times. I love gladiators, and going through and seeing the monsters try to attack the gladiators, and the gladiator, arena location was overall fantastic. It's kind of like a childhood dream of, being a gladiator and being able to fight, stuff like that. So it was really cool. This was one of the houses that I do have. One thing I didn't like, it was this house, and I want to say one other, and unfortunately I can't remember the house that it was at, but they use a smell, and it almost smells like a bathroom, and it's not a pleasant smell. It kind of throws me off of the immersion. It's kind of in your face and disgusting. It was still an amazing house, but the smell was just overbearing at some points, and I was more ready just to get out of the house than anything. So number 3 on the original houses list is Depths of Fear. Depths of Fear is a mining core built an installation in deep waters infested with something monstrous. There's no escape from your watery grave. This one was really cool. Going in, not knowing anything about it, you walk into this tunnel, and there's people sending video communication telling you not to come. There's something going on, and alarms are going off. So right away, it throws you into this world. You're immersed immediately, and within a couple seconds, you're already face to face with these monsters. And while the monsters they're kind of silly looking, it's still a pretty cool house. They put a lot of immersion into this. They still did a good job with the monsters, how they look with the costumes. And then of course you've got the survivors trying to just make it out of there alive. Again, overall, a really cool house. It seems how there's only 4 original houses. It's, technically at the bottom of my list, but it doesn't negate the fact that it was still an amazing original house. So the last house for originals would be Graveyard Games. Graveyard Games, it says, enter a cemetery at night where disrespectful teens have awakened vengeful spirits. Don't be caught dead here after dark. This one was interesting. So when you, so if you hear my dogs running around, sorry about that. So before you even get into this house, there's a big Facebook feed that's projected on the wall, and it kind of gives you a backstory of what's going on. You've got these 2 teens that are kind of, I believe it was 2. It was a few teens or whatever, 1 teen that is kind of making pranks and scaring people, and they're doing it in this cemetery. And then on the Facebook feed, they're also talking about this vengeful spirit who will take anybody that disrespects the graveyard. And so right away, you kind of get the backstory of what's going on, what to expect. Going in, it was a really cool house. It was awesome seeing the location in this original story. But as of on my list, it's still at the bottom. Other houses were better for me, and I would definitely have to put this at the end. So next we're going to be talking about the scare zones, and the scare zones I can actually show you, which is awesome. So the first scare zone we'll go through is the Rob Zombie Hellbilly Deluxe. It says, step into the heavy metal horror of Rob Zombie as his pulse-pounding music comes to life in a frenzy of raging madness. This one is awesome. If you've seen anything from Rob Zombie, you kind of know what you're expecting when you're coming into the scare zone. It's similar to a lot of his work, but overall, it was a really cool Overall, it was a really cool scare zone, and I'm going to show you some of the footage right here. So the second scare zone, which is actually the Anarcade, this is right when you first walk into Horror Nights. It's located directly between Despicable Me, which is actually my old work. I used to work there, and I loved it. And then you also have Shrek right between them. So between both of those is the Anarcade, which is a sinister 80s inspired arcade that has taken over Avenue of the Stars, and you only get one life. Once you scream, it's game over. This is really cool. When we walked through, there's a few scare actors. It's very arcadey feel, had the neon lights, and it said game over on, or it said game on one side, over on the other. It was really cool, and I'll show you the footage right now. So the third scare zone I'm going to talk about is the Vikings Undead. It says, brutal horn-helmeted warriors have risen from the grave and laid siege to Central Park. Bloodlust never dies. This was really cool. It's one of the darkest scare zones. I do have footage of it. Hopefully it came out well enough so you can see. The darkness definitely makes it scarier because sometimes you can't see the scare actors as they're coming at you. And it was definitely a neat experience. I love Vikings and I love that kind of lore. So definitely this was one of the coolest ones for me. So definitely check this out if you're coming to Horror Nights. So here's the footage. So next on the scare zones is Zombieland Double Tap. Zombieland, if you've seen the original movie, you kind of know what to expect with this scare zone. But they're also coming out with a second movie in October, which I'm really excited about because I loved the first movie. With Zombieland Double Tap, this was in the area right near Jimmy Fallon and The Mummy. With this one, they used to have The Purge in this location a few years ago, and they would do a big event where somebody would come out and get killed, stuff like that. With this one, it's one of the characters. I believe her name was Wichita. It's the Emma Stone's character in Zombieland. She faces off against a few zombies and then ends up finding a big baddie. And I believe they actually rotate some of the characters out, so you might not see the same character come out and do a show out in front of everybody. And then with that, they also have another location. If you've seen the movie, they get stuck in this like fair type building and zombies are surrounding it. And it's that same kind of scene from the movie into the scare zone. And I have some of that footage, so here it is.
that, don't you? Damn, there's more! Little Rock, where are you? Little Rock!
Last but not least, the best scare zone I think that they had this year is a Vanity Ball. Your flesh is the canvas in Hollywood, and these blade-wielding artists can't wait to take a scalpel to you. So Vanity Ball was really awesome. Some of the locations that they used, some of the things, the scenes that they would play out in front of you was really cool. The makeup effects on these scare actors were awesome, and some of them were very terrifying. I got a lot of good pictures in this location, and I think it was really cool. So here is some of the footage right here. So they had two shows for Halloween Horror Nights. This year was Halloween Marathon and Mayhem. It was the water show in the middle of Universal Studios. We didn't get to see that one, so I can't really give you my thoughts on it. But the other show was Academy of Villains, Altered States. I've never seen Academy of Villains before. We always skip the shows, mainly so we can try to get all of the houses. But this year we kind of flew through the houses, were able to do all the scare zones, and we still had some time left over. So we said, hey, let's go see the show. I have a few clips from the show that I'm going to show you, but I don't want to show you the whole entire show for the fact that I think you should just go see it for yourself. Video pictures will not do the show justice. they were absolutely fantastic. This show floored me away. And if you are able to come to Horror Nights, take time, find out which one of their shows are playing, and go see it. Get a good seat. Some of the dancers, some of the actors in the show will come pretty much into the audience. They have these little stages that are set up right in front of you, and they get right in your face. And again, this one was amazing. They have performances, dancing, some theatrics. To me, it kind of reminds me of Cirque du Soleil, but with a edgier, vibe to it. Again, I cannot give the show enough praise. This show was fantastic. If we go back this year, I definitely will go see the show again. And they are a must-see for future Horror Nights events. So if they're back again next year, I'm not going to skip them. I have to go see them. Again, can't give enough praise. So last but not least, we are going to be showing you our giveaway. All you have to do is subscribe to our channel, share this video, and also comment down below and tell me what your favorite part of Horror Nights is, or what house that you would want to see. Or if you don't have a house that you are interested in, if you've not been to Horror Nights this year, just tell me your favorite scary movie and we'll go from there. So we're gonna let this run for about a month from the date that this is posted, and then I will make an announcement on video using a random name generator from the comments, and we'll be telling who won the event or won the giveaway. So to show you what we're giving away, we're doing the Halloween Horror Nights pins. Let's see if I can get it to zoom in. There you go. It comes with 4 pins. It's got Killer Clowns. It has a Halloween Horror Nights 2019, and then it's got 2 clowns at the top from Killer Clowns. Thought these were really cool, loved them, and I had to get them for the giveaway. Second, we're giving a Universal Studios. It is a Horror Nights lanyard. Let's see if we can get it to focus. And it's got Ghostbusters on it, which was really awesome. Pretty amazing. It's got Stay Puffed. I love this one. We actually got some for ourselves so we could wear, have our tickets in while we were doing it, doing the event. So again, I wanted to give that away. Third, this is all going to be for the, there's no first, second, or third. It's one giveaway. And the person who wins the giveaway gets all of these. So for this, we have a cup, and it says Halloween Horror Nights. It's got the Stranger Things monster. It's got Killer Clowns. Let's see. It's got the Universal Monsters, and it's got the Stay Puffed. So that is our third one. And for our final object of the giveaway, we have Shorty with a ray gun from Killer Clowns action figure, which a lot of people, I didn't too much care for the movie, but a ton of people love it, and I knew this would be an awesome giveaway to give away. So those are the 4 prizes that one lucky winner will win. Again, I'll go over the rules. You have to be subscribed to our YouTube channel. You have to share this video, and you have to comment down below a favorite Halloween Horror Nights house, or a house or a scare zone that you'd love to go to this year if you haven't been, or just your favorite scary movie if you don't have either a favorite house and or you haven't been to Horror Nights this year. So again, we're going to run this 1 month from the day that I post this video, and then we will be announcing the winner using a random name generator, and then we will announce it here on our YouTube channel. So good luck to everybody. I hope everybody has fun, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, and you like this content, please subscribe with the notifications on so that you will see future videos of ours. And I will see you next time. Later.